King Kong has one of the most famous movie moments in cinematic history. We're all at least a little familiar with the image of a giant gorilla scaling the Empire State Building. This moment is iconic. This character is iconic. But has he ever been in a good video game?
Y'all know what time it is!
See that? I sprang for a special title card and everything. Plus, I'm wearing a 100% movie-accurate, full-body King Kong costume. I hope you guys like it, because it cost me over $1,000. But it looks rad. We're starting at the beginning. King Kong on the Atari 2600. It came out in 1982, and look at this cover. I don't remember Indiana Jones appearing in King Kong. Apes. Why'd it have to be apes? What the fuck? Is that King Kong? He looks like a gingerbread man. I know this is Atari 2600 and graphics are minimal, but I feel like you could do better than a stick figure with Ernie's head. The girl looks like one of those little fairies from Disney's Sleeping Beauty. So you play as the little green dude who has to climb the ladders while jumping over bombs to get to the top. This is Donkey Kong! This game is just Donkey Kong! Watch, I'll show you. See? Here's Donkey Kong for the Atari 2600. Donkey Kong also kind of looks like a gingerbread man, but at least he's moving like an ape. He throws honeycomb cereal while Mario climbs the ladders to save the girl. I can't believe it! King Kong is just a crappy ripoff of Donkey Kong! That's hilarious, because didn't Nintendo get sued over the Donkey Kong character? Why is Kong throwing bombs at me? What is he, ISIS? These bombs look like cupcakes. And soda cups. When you're halfway up, Kong decides to jump to the bottom of the screen, and then the bombs reverse direction. That's not how bombs work. Now they're going up the ladders. Ah, fuck this. So in 1976, a remake of King Kong came out in America, and then a sequel came out in 1986 called King Kong Lives. 2 video games were made loosely based on that sequel, and both were only released in Japan. Because that makes sense. Here's the first one for the Famicom, the Japanese Nintendo. It's called King Kong 2, also known as King Kong 2 The Furious Megaton Punch. I have a homebrew of the game where someone put the Japanese circuit board into an NES case. I see we're off to a kinky start. It looks like Kong is waiting to partake in some kind of twisted 50 Shades of Grey sexual fantasy. Yoo-hoo, Kong! Remember, the safe word is pumpernickel. Actually, Kong is captured, but he thinks about this other Kong in captivity and he breaks free. Ooh, is this gonna be a side-scroller? Well, no, it's a top-down game. What the hell are these blobs? Where am I? I thought I was in the city. What the fuck is happening here? I will say this, I really like the music in this game. Yeah, smash stuff! Ooh, look, a secret door. Wait. This is virtually the same dungeon song from The Legend of Zelda. In fact, a lot of this game reminds me of The Legend of Zelda, including these enemies here. It's most likely a coincidence because these games came out the same year, but... Wait, what the fuck? Wait! Alright, the thing about King Kong 2 is, it's not that bad. I can totally see someone getting into it. It's just brutal. Every time you leave a screen and return, the enemies respawn. Every time. At least in The Legend of Zelda, if you left a screen and returned, the enemies were still cleared out for a while. And look at this! Sometimes they respawn right where you enter the screen! That's not fair! Look at this! What the fuck? How was I supposed to avoid that? No! Stop! I said stop! I am really getting hot in this costume. The sweating. The other game based on King Kong 2 came out for the MSX, and it's a role-playing game called King Kong 2 Revived Legend. In this game, you play as a human. Both of these games came from Konami. And in 1988, Konami made a game for the Famicom called Konami YY World. In this game, you play as Konami Man and Konami Lady. You travel to other worlds to rescue other characters from past Konami games, who you can then play as. The characters include King Kong, Simon Belmont from Castlevania, and Mikey from the Goonies? How random is this? Think about it. Simon, King Kong, and Mikey from the Goonies were all in the same game. This is a nice touch. When you switch to a character, the game switches to their theme song. There's that rad King Kong score again. To switch characters, you have to press up and jump, which is awful because I keep doing it accidentally. I think it's perfectly normal for people to hit the directional pad when they jump to steer the jump. Stop changing characters! There are some robot Kongs. Wikizilla says that this is Mechani Kong, but I can't confirm if it's meant to be the Mechani Kong. It's definitely a robot King Kong, as is the level's main boss. This robot Kong lost his legs in Nam like Lieutenant Dan, so he jets around shooting missiles at you. In classic retro game fashion, this game is pretty hard. I can see the appeal in it, but stop switching characters! There was a sequel to this game, but King Kong didn't make the cut the second time around. Fucking sweating, man. I got pools of sweater forming in the crotch of this suit. Jesus. It's fucking hot. Kong makes an implied cameo in 1992's Mario is Missing, which is funny because now King Kong and Donkey Kong live in the same universe. All you see of Kong is his hand, jerking off the top of the Empire State Building. This is an educational game, and it blows, so we're just gonna move on. Next comes 2002's Kong the Animated Series for the Game Boy Advance. Yeah, so in the early 2000s, there was a King Kong animated series, followed by a couple of direct-to-DVD movies. I haven't watched them yet, so hopefully this won't be too confusing. The game says that the woman Kong kidnapped in the original film went on to be a brilliant scientist named Dr. Lorna Jenkins? Wait, what? The woman's name was Ann Darrow! Well, for whatever reason, the scientist brings Kong back by crossing his genes with her grandson, and then they bring him to Kong Island. What? No, it's Skull Island! Did you even watch the original King Kong? You play as both the human and Kong in this game. It's a pretty standard platformer. The graphics aren't bad. You beat up dinosaurs, and Fozzie the Bear on steroids. If you could believe it, there's also a second game for the Game Boy Advance based on this cartoon. Kong King of Atlantis from 2005, based on one of the direct-to-DVD movies. Having not seen the movie, all I could say about this is... What? Okay, Kong's demise was legend. So he didn't die? Wait, he was cloned? Which was it? Ancient Prophecy Queen Reptilia? What the fuck is happening? I describe this game more as annoying than difficult, but once again, the graphics are fairly decent. But when you're not playing as Kong, all you're playing is a very basic platformer. And it really feels like you don't play a whole lot as Kong. Yeah, fuck this tree. Fuck these cavemen. Now I'm Jane of the Jungle, I guess. And it's absolutely no different than when I played as the dude. Listen, if you like the animated series or this movie, you'll probably be okay with these games. But if you're not familiar with them, there's not much here for you besides an average and sometimes annoying platformer. I'm getting lightheaded in here, man. Damn it. Should have thought this through. Now we're up to the release of Peter Jackson's King Kong. And if there's one game in this whole video I recommend you try, it's the official movie tie-in game for Xbox and PlayStation 2. The graphics may be a little dated by today's standards, but this is one of those rare occurrences where a video game adaptation is better than the movie. For most of the game you play as Jack, and the game's strongest points are its audio and its atmosphere. You really feel immersed in the environment, and sound cues play a huge part in the gameplay. For about a quarter of the game, you get to play as Kong, and the perspective shifts, but it's really cinematic and exciting. Regardless of how you feel about Jackson's King Kong movie, this game is definitely worth a look. Jackson's Kong also made it to the Game Boy Advance with Kong the Eighth Wonder of the World by Ubisoft. This is a top-down adventure game with a lot of role-playing elements. You can make Jack, Carl, or Ann the leader of your party. Each one has a different ability. Jack has a knife and a gun. Carl has grenades. And Ann screams. And she can also heal the men. The only two things women are good for, right, Ubisoft? Again, in some sections of the game, you can play as Kong. And again, it switches perspective. Of course, it's more fun to be King Kong and beat on dinosaurs than it is to figure out puzzles in the main game. But overall, this game's not bad. I could see how it might get its hooks in some players. It's nice to see that these developers put real effort in these movie adaptation games, rather than just spit out crap to make a quick buck. And then that's kind of it for King Kong. He appears in LEGO Dimensions as a boss in the LEGO Batman movie pack, but believe it or not, there hasn't been a King Kong home console game in quite a while. I'm not counting casino games or handheld electronic games here, and I'm not counting unlicensed appearances right now. And that's the story of King Kong in video games. The funny thing is most of these games are at least okay in their own way. I wouldn't say any of these games are downright bad. Hopefully he makes an appearance in another game in the near future so I can get my money's worth for buying this movie-accurate costume. God, I'm sweating in here. And I'm getting kinda lightheaded. I gotta get out. Where's the zipper? Ah, shit, I can't reach the zipper. Shit. Ah, frick. I can't think straight. Oh. Call my doctor.